Hmm. Oh, it's already filming. Oh, well, that's good. How you going? We're starting the 318 today. We got I got water in it. I got oil in it. I got transmission fluid in it. Pretty well good. Nearly ready to rock. Battery's charged. I cleaned the car off, and yeah, see that it's pretty glary in here at the moment. But yeah, cleaned the car off. So as soon as I started, it doesn't just send shit everywhere. But got to wrap the headers around the shifter cable. And other than that, well, yeah, getting started. Yeah, sweet. Gentlemen, use the proper tools. Use the proper tools. So, there we have it. Shifter cable, hope you can see this. It's coming through, it's heat sheathed, and both those header tubes are wrapped. But I suggest, gentlemen, use the correct tools. Just testing for spark. Spark. Okay. Here we go, gentlemen. Too much advance, I'd say. Ooh. I'll get a rag, hold on. Yep.
Say hi.
Well, back to square one. Back to fine top dead center. All right, so there is oil all over the engine. The engine is smeared with oil. Everywhere, oil everywhere. Sprayed everywhere with oil. But I'll get to that in a minute. Last night, we found that the Davies Craig stopped working. So last night, we found the Davies Craig blew a fuse. The light went out in the LCD screen on the Davies Craig stopped working. Turns out the water pump is dead. So I'm gonna have to figure that one out. But in the meantime, we thought, well, we'll just run it, make sure it's got oil pressure, make sure the alternator's charging. You know, do just a little test fire. Huh. I wish I'd filmed it. Honestly. From where the oil filter mounts, a stream of oil shot out and nearly got Sean in the face. Sean was standing right here where I'm where I'm standing. And he had to duck as the stream of oil came straight at him. And hit a bunch of other stuff and sprayed back onto the engine. We've sort of wiped it down, but the whole engine bay was sprayed with oil. So now I've got to figure out why I've got so much oil pressure that I've turned my oil filter into a balloon. Yeah, the joys of it. So that's oil sprayed everywhere there. That's oil droplets sprayed everywhere there. All the way down here. Even oil droplets in the bucket. And oil on the roof. If you're going to do it, you got to do it right. Oil drops up the wall. All right. So, my oil filter adapter, my oil filter relocation deal is, it's mounted on the rail up the front there, but comes off the side of the engine with a braided line, as you can see. Now, what I've done is just looped it around so there is no filter in the system. All I'm going to do now is start and run the engine, and just 5 seconds or so, purely to see what oil pressure I've got. Yeah, huh? As you can see from that last bit of footage, the oil pressure is way too high. So, well, it must be crook oil pump. The pressure relief valve, not working. There's no other way it can have, I'd guess it's ballooning the oil filters, so it must be 200 psi. Either way, I think easiest way, less way to do it with the least headaches, is just pull the engine out, stick it on the stand. So yeah, so that's the plan. I'll get this thing out and pull it a bit. Yep. Near on, ready to come out. Driver's side header's still in it. So that's next on the agenda. Get that out. Get the 360s over there on the stand. So I got a 360 off the stand. And get this thing on stand. Go from there. Right. I don't know if you can see this properly, but that entire lower section of those 2 ports was not sealing. So, something I'll have to remedy. But I did notice that the pipes were dinged in around this boss, and I was fouling on it. So when the engine's out, I'm going to cut that boss off and test fit the pipes again. But yeah, she's up. One more bolt and the oil line to come off, and yeah, I'll bring her up. Oh, there we are. It's interesting to see. Hang on. Notice that's obviously popped because the oil, sendle unit there is covered in oil. So I'd guess that has popped because it's dribbled all the way down. There's a little puddle of oil there. It's fairly wet all around here, so I reckon that thing's popped. So I'll have to replace that. I think I've got a new one sitting in the box. So yeah. But I'll have to get into it, I suppose. I'll drain the rest of the oil and I'll see if there's any oil left in it. It shouldn't be any oil left in it. Yeah, I'll just... should be able to just spin her upside down. Rip it out. Alright, spin her over, get the pump out of it. So the first thing I'll do, I'll just check the pump. Just pull it to bits and yeah, just see if there's anything obvious. So you can see plunger moves fine, but still got, still got way too much oil pressure, so don't know what the deal is, don't know why. Alright, so once I got it apart, I was playing around with the relief valve and I realised by looking at a couple of other pumps that I've got sitting there, refer to my box of tricks, I realised that the spring that I had when I built this pump, I chose the heaviest spring that I had, and it pushed the plunger down probably 1/4 of an inch further than all the others. So what I've done now is gone for the lightest spring that I've got, and yeah, it's got it sort of back where it was. Two of the pumps, I've got four pumps. Two of the pumps, the plunger was barely past the opening, and I thought, oh well, what's the go there? Figured it out either way. Heavy pump, a heavy spring that I'd put in it, I'd guess was the problem. It's a guess. Well, it's not. I mean, it's an educated guess. It's not a guess. But anyway, pumps back in, pickups back in, bolts are torqued. I'm about to clean it up and put the oil pan back on. Alright, there she is. It's all just nipped up, just sort of pulled down, not fully, not torqued to specs yet. The RTV in the corners, when that's dried tomorrow, I'll torque it down, throw it back in the engine bay. But realised for the roadworthy, the steering box needs adjustment, and that's impossible while the engine's in the car. So gonna do that now. The brake lines too. Brake lines were going to be not impossible, but real difficult while the motor was in the car. So it's actually, yeah, I guess a blessing in disguise. But yeah, so I'll get into the steering box. Is probably low hanging fruit. I'll get that, and then brake lines after that. Well, I got the steering box sorted. Decided to muck around with the brakes. Those lines, just the factory lines, man, they're ugly. That looks like rubbish if you ask me, but found that dipstick tube for the transmission came off an earlier model, So it actually clashes with the master, or it does as it's sitting there. Maybe it's different once the engine's back in. I don't really know, but it looks like it's not going to work, so I'll have to get something else. But I just decided to pull the master apart just to see. It's actually, the ball is really good. No, you can't see anything, but the ball is really good. The seals are really good, but where are we? That circlip let go, and the spring and retainer popped off as soon as I pulled the piston out, and I can't find the retainer. I can't find the clip. So now I'm going to have to wait and go and get a. I'm going to have to wait and go and get a, I guess a seal kit, and hope to Christ that it's got the little clip for that recess. I've got a packet of clips here and none of them fit, so that's pretty shit. But yeah, one step forward, two steps back. Can't do the brakes now. Might get on, check out the electric water pump and see why it stopped. All right, electric water pump. Looks like whatever these little, might be capacitors or something like that, if you can see this one. That's blown the wire off. And this one, if you can see that, has completely come away. So it's supposed to have 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, but 2 out of the 4 have dewired themselves from the brushes. So capacitors or whatever they are, might be diodes or something. That motor is not going again anytime soon. So my plan at this point is just make a plate to block that off and get the electric Davies Craig pump to pull from the bottom of the radiator and just blow it straight into there. But Sean, Buck the Atlas, Sean from Buck the Atlas channel, he might be able to, well, he's pretty electrically savvy, so he might be able to sort me out with that electric motor. If not, like I said, I'll just build a plate and run a Davies Craig. Yeah, I just got on and Loctited all the oil pan bolts. Now I've taped up the exhaust ports so that I can cut this lug off the block so that the headers will fit. Header is on. One moment, please. Yep. Right, so driver's side header is on. Yeah, looks fine. Went to muck around with the passenger side pipe and found rust. Found what appears to be water droplets, and that made me think maybe I should investigate. And I found a rusty exhaust port. Now that's the exhaust port that had a lot of rust in it. That cylinder, number 7, was getting water while it was in the boat before I'd first got it. Popped the head off, and I know if you've been following this series on this engine, when I first popped the heads off of this, I found surface rust in that number 7 cylinder. I thought it was the exhaust manifolds, the big marine exhaust manifolds. I thought they'd rusted through. I reckon I was wrong. So, I don't know if you can see this on camera. No, it's not looking like it, but rust. And I've sort of rubbed that off a bit with my thumb too, but there's rust. Looks like, hang on a second, I'll see if I can get this working. It's sort of water droplets, what appears to be water droplets. And yes, when they've modified this, they put the flange on wrong. Oops. Anyway, I didn't do it, so cheap headers. It is what it is. I mean, you can see the gasket just barely matching there, but whatever. Too late, she cried. I'm I don't know what to do now. That seems to me pretty conclusive that the head's cracked in that exhaust port, or porous, or whatever. So, as it boils down to it, I don't really know what I'm going to do, but I will just make a quick explanation of the oil pressure deal. So here's a pump. This is the pump that came off the blown up 360. Let's see. Okay, some light on the subject. The plunger here, the way I had mine set up. Come on. Alright, so now it's just being a bitch and it's too hard to do one-handed. Anyway, this plunger slides up and down that passage there. I had mine so it was hard up here, where this is hardly even visible from the, it may not even be visible from that. So it was at least quarter of an inch further down the passage. So it's it's quarter of an inch further that it has to be pushed up by. I mean, this is the pressure side. This is the vacuum side, suction side of the pump. And so once pressure builds up in here, it pours back into the suction side as a release or a relief. So yeah, pressure relief valve. Sorry to dumb it down for the blokes that already know what I'm talking about, but if my plunger, if the plunger piston, whatever you want to call it, was all the way down here, and this one, and I know this pump provided plenty of oil pressure, and it's nowhere to be seen here, then that's the dilemma. That's what I found when I pulled apart the other pumps, because I've got 3 other pumps sitting over behind me. That's the thing that I noticed in the other pumps, where I had it set up with a real hard spring pushing all the way hard up here. So it's just, it's even more pressure that's required to relieve the pump, so, or relieve the pressure. So I can only guess that that's, it's an educated guess, not really a guess, but you know what I mean. That seems to me to be the problem, being that I know this pump was running good oil pressure on the motor before it was before it threw a rod. So that's the culmination of the issue. That's the explanation as best I can explain it. So that's going to have to be it for this video, because it's just dragging on and becoming something that it was never supposed to be. I guess I'll just chase up more 318 heads or a 318 head. Let me know in the comments, boys, what you reckon. or if you've got some parts, drop me a line. You know what I mean? Yeah, I can't really drag this video out any longer. It's not like I can work on this thing. I mean, put the exhaust on. What for? You know? Yeah, yeah, I guess that's it for this one, fellas. Yeah, talk to me in the comments, won't ya? I'll see you again soon.